Hello and welcome to My Consultant. On this episode, we're going to explore Canada's aging workers. Next, the new affordable health benefits for Ukrainian refugees here in Canada, followed by the COVID-19 lifted travel requirements. Stay with us as I share the special program for Afghan refugees and their sponsors. And Tina will elaborate on fast-tracked applications through the Green Bin.
Good news for youngsters who are looking forward to move to Canada. The country is looking for young workers as the major section of its workforce has either reached retirement age or will be retiring in the next couple of years. A new survey by Canadian Centre Policy Alternative shows that 73,000 more people retired in August 2022 compared to last year, which is a jump of 32%. Adding to the problem, more than 620,000 people have reached the age of 65 plus during the pandemic, which is a 9.7% increase in that population group. The retirement problem is severe in fields such as trading and nursing. By May 2022, Canada has lost 34,000 jobs in healthcare. Those were not jobs being cut, but rather people retiring. The transportation industry is also going through a severe worker shortage. More and more drivers are aging and therefore retiring or contemplating a different lifestyle. Immigration seems to be the right approach in resolving the young workforce shortage problem. There are several immigration programs such as Express Entry and Provincial Nominee Program that encourages youngsters across the globe to build a promising career in Canada.
Earlier this week, as of October 1st, 2022, Ukrainians arriving in British Columbia with a Canada-Ukrainian Authorization for Emergency Travel, or a CUAET, will now benefit from a more affordable process for the federally mandated medical examination. The Ministry of Health began managing payments for the medical diagnostics testing, including chest X-ray and blood tests, that Ukrainians under the CUAET may need to complete within 90 days of arrival in British Columbia. To be eligible, individuals must be enrolled in the Medical Services Plan, or the MSP, and have approved CUAET documentation. This means that people will not be billed for completing the required testing. Those who have already paid for testing can be reimbursed by sending the appropriate information to Health Insurance BC. The 3-month waiting period for MSP coverage has also been waived to help ensure immediate access to health services. This new information builds on the recently announced full coverage of eligible prescription for 1 year, as well as changes to the medical and healthcare services regulations, which extended MSP full coverage to people arriving in BC with approved CUAET documentation.
The Canadian government has ended all its COVID-19 entry restrictions for air travelers, which means that there will be no pre or on-arrival COVID-19 testing. Travelers will not have to show their proof of vaccination or submit their travel details on ArriveCan app. Also, there is no quarantine, which means that travelers can straight away head to their destination. Both the government and air industry are collaborating to reduce traveler wait times and delays at airports across Canada. Over the past few months, many people have shared their travel nightmares because of the lengthy delays and security wait times at Canadian airports. The air industry is facing labor shortages and is trying to rebound following 2 years of pandemic restrictions. To reduce wait times and make the journey smoother, Canadian Air Transport Authority has hired over 2,000 screening officers across Canada. The Greater Toronto Airports Authority has opened a dedicated international student processing area in Terminal 1, which will minimize impacts on general traveler flow and also reduce border wait times. Last week, over 90% of flights from top 4 airports were on time or within 1 hour of their scheduled departure. In Toronto Pearson International Airport, 94% of flights were on time, whereas in a Vancouver International Airport, 91%. Montreal Trudeau International Airport, 94%, and Calgary International Airport, 81%. This is indeed a significant improvement when travel conditions are getting better and striving to meet pre-pandemic standards, when more than 95% of flights used to be on time.
Through a new and special program that will soon begin on October 17th, 2022, you can now sponsor an Afghan refugee without refugee status from the United Nations Refugee Agency or a foreign state. The United Nations Refugees Agency or a foreign state issues a RSD or Refugee Status Determination document to confirm the person seeking protection is considered a refugee. Through this program, the refugee you wish to sponsor does not need to have an RSD from the United Nations Refugee Agency or a foreign state. You do not need to include a foreign status determination document with your sponsorship application. Groups of 5 and community sponsors usually need to submit this document to sponsor a refugee. You can sponsor an Afghan refugee who is outside of Afghanistan and meets the definition of convention refugee or country of asylum refugee. A convention refugee is a person who is outside of their home country or residing country and fears returning because of well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. A country of asylum is a person who is outside of their home country or residing country and is seriously affected by civil war, armed conflict, or a massive violation of human rights. All sponsorship applications will be reviewed to make sure the refugee meets the requirements of security, criminality, and medical exams. To sponsor a refugee as a group of 5 or as a community sponsor, you must meet eligibility requirements. For a group of 5, each member of the group must be an 18 or over Canadian citizen or permanent resident, live in the same community where the refugee is expected to settle, and agree to give settlement support for the length of the sponsorship, which usually lasts a full year. Your group must provide a settlement plan and prove the group has the money to sponsor a refugee for 1 year. Community sponsors are groups that sponsor refugees to come to Canada, such as organizations, associations, or corporations. The community sponsor does not have to be incorporated under federal or provincial law. A community sponsor must commit to support the refugees for the length of the sponsorship, which generally lasts a full year, and must be in the community where the refugees are expected to settle. Your sponsorship group must complete a special online training session with the Refugee Sponsorship Training Program, or RSTP. Who completes this training will depend on your sponsorship group type. Groups of 5 must have 1 member of the group who signs a sponsorship application complete the training. Community sponsors must have the group's signing authority complete the training. This session will help you understand who you can sponsor as a refugee and your responsibilities as a sponsor. If you do not complete this online session, you won't be able to sponsor through this particular program. After you complete the session, you will receive a certificate from the RSTP. You must include this certificate with your application. After you complete this session, you will receive a certificate from the RSTP. you must include the certificate with your sponsorship application. Your application will not be processed without it. Sponsors must submit their application forms and all required supporting documents via email or the mailing address in their sponsorship group's instructions guide. After sponsors submit their application and all supporting documents, be sure to keep all information up to date. Inform the review team if addresses or telephone numbers have changed after you have applied, or the refugee they are sponsoring has moved.
Will your immigration file be fast-tracked? Well, it depends whether it hits Canada's new green bin. Immigration officials process applications according to the order in which they are received. However, occasionally applicants have complained that others have bumped their application, as complex cases take longer to process, and some visas have a higher backlog than others. According to immigration experts, there is one element that dictates which permanent immigration applicants could get easier and quicker. It comes down to whether their applications are under green bin or standard bin. Who decides and what decides that which application will fall under green bin and which application will fall under standard bin? According to an internal memo, this is how it functions. There is an automated method that recognizes the low complexity cases that would have a high probability of being authorized without officer review based on evidence-based, data-driven rules from past applications and decisions. These cases are placed in what's known as the green bin, where officers will conduct medical, criminal, and security checks to make sure that the PR application is eligible for admission to Canada. The remaining applications are referred to the standard bin, where officers will manually evaluate them for eligibility as per established protocols. It is anticipated that 50% of all new applications will be placed under the green bin for faster processing. Being put in the green bin against the standard bin can mean the difference between years in the confirmation of PR, where processing durations can range up to 24 months. This trial project comes with the increased efforts by Canada to modernize its outdated immigration system to deal with the increasing immigration backlogs. As per reports, around 25,000 applications have been sent to the green bin, while 24,620 applications have been placed under the standard bin. If you want your PR application to be placed under the green bin, then please make sure that it is organized properly and it has all the information that is required. Also make sure that all the photocopies and documents are clear. Last but not the least, please tell the truth on your application. Do not hide any criminal or security problems if there are any.
That's all for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to click the bell icon to subscribe to the My Consultant YouTube channel. For more information on the topics covered in this week's episode, please be sure to visit myconsultant.ca, where you can contact an authorized immigration and citizenship consultant. I'm Christina Thompson.
I am Tina Batra, and we'll see you next week.